This is Radar for On the Radar Entertainment Blog, coming with another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations, number 24. I forgot one movie last week that I had watched, and that was one of the movies that you have to watch on streaming because, well, the library's not being open because of the pandemic, and then being open, either they don't own it or they can't get it from interloan request. So the movie that I watched was this really weird supernatural movie with Nicolas Cage, and you're like, yeah, Nicolas Cage makes weird movies. And it definitely was one of these supernatural thriller movies. So basically, he's a troubled person because his wife and his daughter died in a fire, and he was out on the road as a trucker. He then hears a woman being choked in a bathroom and tries to save her, but doesn't realize that this woman has some sort of power, where if she feels like her body leaves her soul, she could save somebody, like her daughter who was in a motorcycle accident. And it's just all whole weird how she explained this all to him. He helps her out by saying, fine, I'll choke you, I'll take you to the hospital because she needs someone to take her to the hospital, etc., etc. And the daughter, when she wakes up, she starts acting weird, like she recognizes Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage never met her before. It turns out Nicolas Cage gets a relationship with this woman, and they're sleeping together, yada yada yada. And then the daughter has friends. She also has like a boyfriend, whatever, and he helps them. She helps him get his stuff back because he owes money. Then it starts turning weird because the daughter starts saying that I'm your wife. I'm your wife's soul in this body, and starts trying to sleep with him and do his thing, and he just ignores it because he thinks something's wrong with the girl. Then eventually, you know how this Nicholas Page is a scumbag for the most part and sleeps with both the mother and the daughter, and the mother finds out and it doesn't understand it, hates him, blah blah blah, and then finds out that the spirit's in there and there's a nurse that talks to spirits. So it's just really weird and stupid. And the only thing is, it's 90-minute most as a movie, so you're not wasting your time in a long-winded movie. So it's under 90 minutes. But it was just weird and stupid. And then eventually, like, Nicolas Cage lights himself on fire and ends the movie like that. That's just like, okay, end the story. Don't ever watch this movie. Then going to the movies I watched from this week on physical copies, I watched the sequel, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. It was, in my opinion, if you're watching a kids movie, you want the kids movie to be, I don't know, an hour and a half, hour 40 minutes, something that is as small as short as possible. Because children nowadays, their attention spans aren't that long. Adult attention spans are also not as long. So a movie that is an hour and 50 something minutes, I don't even think an adult wants to through a children's movie that's long. And now this is not like a child's cartoon that I grew up with and they made it into a live action movie, or it's something that I'm familiar with. I watched Maleficent going, okay, cool. A movie with Angelina Jolie, it's a Disney movie, let me watch it. And this one was, okay with, Ellie Fanning and Michelle Pfeiffer, and they had Chiwetel Ejiofor, who was in, the Doctor Strange movie, so it's like, okay, they're trying to unite the mystical awful creatures with the humans, but then the king gets killed and it's under a curse and they blame it on her. And then you find out that just because you're, a weird creature doesn't mean that you're evil. Humans can be evil too. So overall, a little bit too long. Had a good children's message in there, but at the end of the day, they're not going to kill Angelina Jolie's character or the Ellie Fanning character. So yeah, it was okay. Next movie I watched was The Good Liar, and it was like, okay, cool. Finally, Helen Mirren and Ian McKellen, two acclaimed actors from, the greater UK area, are in a movie together, and it wasn't, that long either, an hour and 40-minute range. Basically, Ian McKellen plays a long-time con man. He goes on a dating site, meets Helen Mirren, and thinks he can pull a trick on her. But little does he know, looks can be deceiving. She's not this old lady who has all this money in this house and you can steal it from her, blah, 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 blah. So there's a bunch of twists and turns in the movie that I kind of liked. But overall, I was like, he's going to fall for the woman and realize he can't con her. But then the movie had all these twists that make it slightly better. But overall, I was like, It was okay. The two of them did their usual good jobs at acting. It was just not that great overall written movie with a plot. The twists are the only thing that makes you want to sit through the whole entire movie and go, what's going to happen here? And that's pretty much it. Then I watched a really bad movie called Downhill. And it's supposed to be like a remake of a foreign film, and that was supposed to be like an artsy-fartsy movie. But this one is only positive thing, it's an hour and 20-minute movie, so it's not that long. It's not a comedy. I don't know why they list it as a comedy. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Will Ferrell, they've been around long enough to know that You get some laughs with Will Ferrell with physical comedy and stuff like that, and Zach Woods is in here as well. But overall, it's like a family goes on a skiing trip, and it's like an adult ski lounge, not the kids' ones, and then stuff happens, and there's a disagreement between the parents, and then the kids are all the stuff, and it's just like, you sit through it because you like Will Ferrell, but then you realize it's not that funny, except for one or two scenes, and then it's slow, and it's not funny. It's a comedy, and they really didn't do a good job of remaking this. Started Jim Rash, one of the people who remade this, the guy from Community. I wouldn't watch it unless you really just are a Will Ferrell fanatic. Then I watched Black Christmas, where it was actually interesting because sorority girl, Igman Poots, and it was cool to see the actors from Star in this movie, so that's really what it is that, they're basically the sorority girl, and, one of them says that one of the people in the fraternity raped her, but nobody believes her, so then they're singing Christmas, because it takes place during, winter break when not everybody goes home, and pretty much what happens is another sorority is there too, and they say crap about this fraternity, and then all of a sudden, people from the sorority homes are gone missing. They're trying to figure out what's going on, and then these fraternity recruits, trying to be in there, come attacking each of the sorority homes, and eventually the movie cause it's got a little supernatural, scary twist to it. It's not scary, but they have to realize, oh wait, the sorority homes are in danger because the fraternities have some sort of mythological dark arts magic thing controlling all the recruits, and they're out there to try to kill these girls, and the whole movie is them trying to survive. So it's interesting movie to see who survives, who doesn't. Nice to see Brittany O'Grady from Star in this movie as well, because it's nice to see her back being something after the show Star ended. So yeah, I like the idea of a survival type of film with supernatural thing. There's a teacher that's part of the fraternity that he's corrupt. That's interesting. So it was pretty good and overall to watch this movie, and the best benefit, it was under 92 minutes. Then, I watched another Christmas movie. I didn't do it on purpose. It was the movie Last Christmas with this Emilia Clarke, and there was a lot of singing, and there's the guy from Crazy Rich Asians on the cover, and it goes, so, again, an hour and 40-something minutes at most, not that long, and I'm not going to call it a rom-com or a comedy. This girl has no luck. She's in bad situations where she's nowhere to live. She keeps ruining her friends' relationship. Her job almost gets ruined as a year-long Christmas store, things like that. And, yeah, it's also sad because she survived, some medical things, and she got a new heart, and she's trying to get herself back on her feet. She doesn't like her mother, who plays by Emma Thompson. The second time I see Emma Thompson, who's a British woman, go, I'm going to play a Russian woman or someone from that, from that neck of the woods, and pretty much have an accent. And the point is, her and her husband both came from there, and they're both trying to support their daughter. Their other daughter is a successful lawyer, and they're proud of her. But she has the whole, let's throw it in, she's gay. And the whole point of the movie, you're like, okay, is this girl going to meet some guy and it's going to change her life? And then you watch the movie, and she meets some guy who doesn't seem to be really interested in her, shows her around, shows you all these cool places, say that there's a homeless shelter if you want to go there. I volunteer there, yada, 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 show all the different spots of, this town that she's in and stuff like that. And you're like, wow, it's going somewhere. Help her out with her audition, teach her how to ice skate. Sorry to give you the whole plot, but overall it was just really stupid, because then you go, oh wait, this is a romantic comedy. It's really depressing 90% of the movie of her life, and all the bad things are happening. And then you find out that when she went and got her heart, this Asian guy who's, British in this movie is the guy that, basically, he got in a bike accident and he died, and his heart was donated to her, which is why she's seeing him. So it's more like a horror film where it's I'm seeing the person's heart that I have, and he's showing me around and being nice to me and things like that. That she really wasn't kissing a guy or dating a guy, that she was doing all this stuff by herself. It was kind of creepy and weird. So a little and I said creepy, weird, depressing. So I don't know how it's listed as a comedy or why is it romantic comedy either. It's a supernatural type of thing. And then I watched. So yeah, overall, don't watch unless you want to watch something creepy and weird and not a rom-com, not funny whatsoever. And it's Christmas themed. Then I watched the children's movie Playing with Fire, where John Cena plays the guy who's pretty much all about being the jumper into fires and stuff like that. And Basically, you get he plays the straight man where he does everything normal, even though being a wrestler, he's an actor, he can act, but he can't really lead a whole movie as the leader. So it's a good thing that they have John Leguizamo and Keegan-Michael Key for comedy, so they can carry the movie and the children do stuff, and that's funny. And it's so interesting to see the girl Brianna Hillenbrand, who was number 19, the character from they were allowed to use in the Deadpool movies where she's got short hair and she's lesbian and she's a badass. This one she's got long hair and more domesticated, so it was interesting to see that. And of course, it's nice to see that Dennis Haysbert's in the movie and Judy Greer plays the love interest and stuff. So overall, it's a good kids movie to watch. 90-something minutes, not that long. It's clever. It's funny. John Cena eventually opens up and stuff like that with these kids that they find. So yeah, overall, I would watch it. It was a good movie. Funny, age appropriate. So yeah, watch this movie. Then I watched a really long biopic movie about Harriet Tubman. So you'd expect watching a 2-hour plus movie that's a biopic and a drama. There's going to be a lot of lulls and a lot of, boring stuff, and there pretty much was. And overall, it would have been cool to see her free more people, lead more trips into freeing people from the South, more military stuff. There was a lot of her having spells of seeing into the future and like being psychic, and her family drama with her sisters not being there and her husband marrying somebody else. It was a little bit too much of that part. If they could just focus on more freeing slaves and more military assignments, that would have been cool to see. That's my opinion. But the woman Cynthia Erivo did a good job. I'm not going to say somebody else should have played her because I don't know that much about it. But again, Janelle Monáe is in a black historical movie as a singer, and guess what? Her music's in the movie. That's how they get you. There are plenty of like great talented female actresses who are African American that could be in this movie that not necessarily are musicians. Same thing with African American men. Like, they got to give them more roles. Because Leslie Odom Jr., he's a talented singer too, but it's like, come on. There are more people out there. I want to see actors in movies being actors. Like, that's the only thing. A little bit too long, too much family drama, not enough of her actually saving people, and some of the casting. And then I watched The Grudge. Supposedly it's like a remake of a Japanese movie and also of an American movie. And it was so confusing because they're showing stuff from the past, showing stuff in the present, showing stuff in the middle. That supposedly this movie takes place in 3 or 4 different times. And that's why it's like more of a sequel to the other American movie, because then it's continuing stuff. There's themes with like John Cho and his wife, not sure about having a baby. There's this house that he's the real estate agent. Then there's this actor from The Village who and his wife live in this house. Then there's this cop who I seen from DS9 as a secret agent guy, and he's a cop who goes in the house and he's freaked out. And then there's the father from Grand Hotel who I just saw on a TV show last year. He's telling his new partner, don't go in the house, don't look into it. It affects her. And it's just all over the place. Then there's like a psychic medium, Jackie Weaver, I think is her name, and she's in there. So yeah, it's confusing because it takes place all over the place. Supposedly it's a sequel, and it's showing different time periods from that movie instead of this one. And it has very good, as I said, talented cast. Jackie Weaver's got the guy from Village. The Village, that TV show's got the guy from the Grand Hotel TV show. It had John Cho. Well-talented cast, but all over the place, confusing, and you have no idea what's going on unless they tell you need to watch the other ones before. Yeah, I'm really not going to suggest to watch The Grudge. Harriet Tubman, if you do want to watch an interesting biopic movie, go right ahead. Playing with Fire, great, funny children's movie, because Leguizamo and Keegan-Michael Key really bring it home. Last Christmas was odd and creepy and not a romantic comedy or a comedy, so I wouldn't suggest watching it. Black Christmas, good horror film, a survival film with Ugman Poots, Brittany. Don't watch Downhill. It's not a good movie. It's not a comedy. It's not a great drama. The twists and turns in this Ian McClellan, Helen Mirren, Good Liar is worthwhile to watch. If you saw the first Maleficent and you're a fan of her, then you'll watch this cool story in terms of survival and finding more creatures like her in the movie. So yeah, it's overall. Don't watch the Nicolas Cage movie Between Worlds. Thanks for listening to another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations. This was episode number 24 for On the Radar and our Table Log. See you guys next time.